Good afternoon, everyone. Time to get started. Move on to those seats.
Kind of worried because I've already used a third of my battery, so maybe the battery's not going to be dead. You know what backup you do? Of course not. I just have to move it backwards and plug it in again.
Don't make me whistle. It's really loud.
If we can.
It looks like Joe's serious. Yeah, it is. Oh, okay. I thought I answered it.
You know, a girl's got to do what a girl's got to do, right?
She needs to be good on the news.
Wow, it really works. It's very effective. Didn't work that well on my children as they were growing up. I am so delighted to be here to welcome you to the 50th anniversary celebration of Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Tampa Bay. I'm Gail Searins from News Channel 8, and I hope that you have enjoyed your walk down memory lane at your favorite diner and music playing on the jukebox, because today, for just a short time, we'd like to take you back to 1964, which is so exciting for me. You know, I wasn't born yet then. But that is when an incredible group of concerned citizens realized that there was a need in this community, that there were children dealing with some tough issues, some without parents or positive role models, and they knew that a caring adult, a mentor, could make a difference in their lives. So instead of just talking about it, they did something, and that is how Big Brothers, Big Sisters got its start here in Tampa. The big is the volunteer. The child in the program is called the little, and together they make a great match. And there have been lots of those matches made in our community. I'm happy to tell you that I have been connected to this agency for 30 of the 50 years as an ambassador of the agency's annual fundraiser, Bowl for Kids' Sake. So it is an honor for me to be part of this celebration. So sit back, we're going to have a lot of fun this afternoon. So we thought we would ask you, if in fact you were alive then, where were you in 1964? Well, I was 10 years old then. I was living in Tampa. I was a skinny, freckle-faced girl. I still have the freckles, not as skinny as I used to be. And I was dreaming about not being a broadcaster in 1964. I wasn't dreaming about anything. I was riding bikes and having fun and playing sports. Not that girls got to play sports back then the way they get to play it now. But I was having a time in my life. What a carefree life that is when you're 10 years old. Unless, of course, you have some of the issues of the children we've talked about already. So we are here today to take that walk for those 50 years back and to celebrate everything in this, everything everyone in this room has become, is part of becoming, is doing with their lives for maybe the last 50 years or maybe just for the last 2 or 5 years. But whatever it is, it's important. And we're really delighted that you chose to be here today and to help celebrate this time. And throughout this hour, we're going to hear how each person on the program has a connection to Big Brothers, Big Sisters, whether they were here in the early years or if in fact they're just brand new to the organization. I'd like to invite Jacob Boker, MetLife, the presenting sponsor, to just say a few words. But first, let's hear from Vince Pavis, the board chair of Big Brothers, Big Sisters.
Hello and welcome, welcome, welcome. This is quite a turnout. And I know it's a big deal to come over here. It's the middle of the day. So we just want to welcome you. Like Gail said, I'm Vince Pavis. I do have a day job. I work for a company called FIS. And as Stephen, our CEO, knows, we've been working together for 15, 20 years. We've been a supporter. We've probably sponsored more things than I can count, but it's always the bowling that's the most fun that we do every year. Big fundraiser. But you know, we serve 2,000 kids in the area, in the Tampa Bay area. And we have some of our Pinellas friends from the other side here who serve another 15 to 1,700 kids. So about 3,500 kids. Doesn't sound like a lot. There's a lot of kids waiting, a lot of kids who need help. And you know, you can volunteer time, talent, and of course your treasure, which is It's something that we like. But you know, you can be a big couple. You can get your kids involved. My daughter's around here someplace, Katie, who's big in schools. And what she does, she goes to the lunch hour, meets her little there, and spends time. So a lot of different ways to help out. What we want to do today is have you sit back, relax, have a good time. We're definitely going to tug at your heartstrings. We do that very, very well. And if we do a good job of that, we're tugging at your checkbook. So please, with that, thank you very much. Welcome. And I'm going to bring up Jacob Boker from MetLife, our premier sponsor.
My name is Jacob Boker. I'm with MetLife. I was asked to submit a picture of myself from the 60s, but I wasn't born yet, so this one will have to do. Early 80s. Can anyone see who's stuck in the background of that photo? It is Snoopy, so I guess I was destined to work in MetLife. MetLife has been working with Big Brothers. We've been working with Big Brothers Big Sisters for over 10 years. And last summer, I want to tell you a story. We had our associates work with the Big Brothers Big Sisters recruiting staff to drum up support and awareness to other MetLife associates to become bigs. We had a lot of interest, and some of our associates took on the responsibility and became big. And some of them are here with me today at table 1. Can't wait to do it again this summer. We know that mentoring is great, and we're looking forward to changing children's lives. I want to wish a happy 50th anniversary to Big Brothers Big Sisters of Tampa Bay. Happy anniversary. And on behalf of MetLife, all of us at MetLife, we are proud to be the presenting sponsor for this luncheon today. We know again how important it is to mentor children. And we want to thank everyone for being here today, and I believe lunch is next. So, thank you.
Lunch is almost next. Thank you, of course, to MetLife and to all the presenting sponsors for making this luncheon possible. Tico Energy, Publix, the Tampa Bay Rays, WellCare, and Digital Lightbridge. We'd also like to take a moment to thank all the members of the Board of Directors. If you would please stand and let us recognize you. You've been years at every table they're sitting at, right? Please enjoy your 60s diner-inspired meal, which is coming up. Your order has been taken, and while you dine, take a look at the big screen. Thanks to Buzz Media and Bright House for producing and airing these special 50th anniversary shout-outs. It is great to have everyone here socializing, getting to see folks. That's the fun part of always having events like this. Good to catch up with folks you might not see every day. But we want to talk more about Big Brothers Big Sisters. Because after all, that's what we're all here. Hope you did enjoy the music and the pictures of Tampa from way back when. It's kind of fun, isn't it? We wanted to say thank you to our new friends at the Tampa Native Show, Mario and Sally Munoz, along with Mike Lujan, who wrote the song I Remember Tampa. So thank you. So let's see here. What was big in 1964? Well, let's start with the TV shows that some of us will remember. The Ed Sullivan Show, Andy Griffith, Bonanza, ladies, Little Joe, remember? The first Ford Mustang hit the road that year. The average cost of a house then was $13,000. Things have changed just a little bit since then. But one thing that was going on then, and that is still going on right now, is the fact that kids are facing adversity, maybe living in a single-parent home. They may have an incarcerated parent or a parent employed or killed in the line of duty. They need extra support and they need guidance to succeed in life. And that's what we're here today to lift up and celebrate. First paid executive director of the local agency was Ernie Ortiz. He was a little brother in the program when he lived in New York, and when he moved here, he knew he wanted to help children who were just like him. What makes this brand of one-on-one mentoring so unique is that the relationship impacts the little and the big. This isn't just about the children. Two people who know that very well are the bigs of the year for the agency. Board members Brian All and Kathy Wade are here to introduce them.
Hi, my name is Kathy Wade, and for the record, I was not on the board in 1964. But it has been my honor to be on the board for the last 3 years.
And I'm Brian All. I can't tell you how much this room reminds me of 1964 in my own life. I've been on the board for 7 years. I work with the Tampa Bay Rays, and just stepped down from serving as our board chair. Every year, our staff members nominate outstanding volunteers for Bigs of the Year for each county, Hillsborough, Pasco, and Koch, as well as agency-wide. It's very difficult to narrow it down, as all of our volunteers have inspirational stories. And now, our first Big Sister of the Year, my dear friend, Tracy McPhail-Reed. Volunteers, congratulations, Tracy. Volunteers are asked to commit to their little for 15 months, a little over a year. Tracy has done that and so much more. She's been matched with Kalia for nearly 10 years. Tracy helped Kalia early on when her little sister was struggling with reading, and now Kalia is in high school with dreams of going into the nursing field. I've had the chance to work side by side with Tracy when she served on our board from 2005 to 2010. She works at Tico Energy and has been instrumental in bringing corporate support as well as volunteers to our agency. She helped launch the Big Brothers Big Sisters Luncheon program several years ago, and despite all of her work and many board obligations, her commitment to Kalia has never wavered. Please stand, Tracy. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And the Big Brother of the Year for the entire state of Florida is Anthony DeVotis. You may remember Anthony and his little Jonathan. They were featured at our luncheon a few years ago. Jonathan had received a perfect attendance award in elementary school. Ryan, have you ever been perfect at anything?
No.
Didn't think so. Jonathan is now 13 and he's still doing very well in school. Jonathan is not just a student, however, he's also an athlete. He and Anthony have completed a 5K race. Jonathan was raised by his grandmother, and when his grandmother passed away, Anthony was there for him. For Anthony's dedication to Jonathan and to the mission of Big Brothers Big Sisters, Anthony has been named Big Brother of the Year. Anthony, can you please stand?
Right up front. You can take it if you want. He's sitting down.
Anthony is joined today with his colleagues at SunTrust, and we ask that you all join us and SunTrust in applauding Anthony. You know, Brian, I think we did a perfect job introducing Anthony and Tracy, don't you?
Certainly. You did a much better job ad-libbing than I did so far.
That was not, however, the formal presentation of the award for Bigs of the Year. That will be done by two people more important and funnier than Brian and I at the Art of Helping Children Gala in September. So please join us at the gala in September. Thank you.
One of the many benefits of being a board member of Big Brothers Big Sisters is that you get to work with an incredibly talented, dedicated staff. We are constantly grateful for the work that they provide, setting up so many matches in our community, ensuring that those matches are successful, and ensuring that those matches lead to outstanding outcomes for some of the neediest children in our community. Our staff is led by CEO Stephen Koch, and he is worthy of their dedication and their support, and I'm pleased to introduce him today.
want to start out with a commercial before I get into my regular speech. For our 50th anniversary, I have a special favor to ask. I would like you all this week to go to the county tax collector office and buy a voucher for our new Big Brothers Big Sisters branded license plate. Isn't that beautiful? Big Brothers Big Sisters gets $25 per year per plate, and we'd love to see these on thousands of cars across the state of Florida, but we have to sell 1,000 vouchers first, so let's start today and get that done. Thank you for that. Commercial over. So happy anniversary, Big Brothers Big Sisters. You know, it's important to celebrate milestones like this because it gives us an opportunity to reflect on our history as a community, as an organization, and personally. And one of our ideas was on the personal front that, boy, wouldn't it be cool to have all of our speakers today have a picture of what they look like in '64. And then as our speaker from MetLife commented, and many of my staff, well, that would be a lot of white pages on the big screen, because most of us weren't there. But I was brave enough to present my picture of what I think I looked like back in '64, when I was 9 years old, and then 10. And even back then, I had goals and aspirations, and I knew, growing up in the farmland of Illinois, that someday I wanted to be the CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters in Tampa. Set those goals and go after them. So, why is it important to reflect on this milestone? Well, if it wasn't for a certain group of individuals who were motivated by the times of the day in '64 to form this agency, we would not be here today celebrating and reflecting back on the thousands and thousands and thousands of kids who were benefited over the years. And we would not be here to celebrate the equal number, thousands of volunteers that came through our doors, many of whom are in this room, and said, I want to help by being a big brother or a big sister. It wouldn't have happened if this group of people hadn't done that. We wouldn't have had hundreds and hundreds of staff over the year who have helped bring it all together and make these matches in a way that's safe and a way that makes a difference in the lives of these kids. It truly is significant. Thank goodness for this group of individuals who had the vision, who had the courage to come together and organize this organization. Today we thank them, today we honor them. So Gail and others have commented a little bit about what was going on in Tampa back in '64, and I think as part of that you have to reflect back what was going on in the nation. Well, in the prior year, the prior November, we lost a president. John F. Kennedy was shot in Dallas. President Johnson took over, and the country was still, I think, in shell shock in the first part of '64. We mentioned some of the things that were going on in the social scene. The Beatles appeared on the Ed Sullivan Show in February of that year. I actually remember that night because I got in a fight with my sister. I did not want to watch the Beatles and Ed Sullivan. I wanted to watch Davy Crockett on the Disney show. I lost. But there were a lot of important things that happened. The Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, interestingly, that was the year they released the designs for the World Trade Center in New York City that was to be built. That was the year that President Johnson submitted a plan for his War on Poverty initiatives in Congress and was successful in enacting much of the legislation. Gail, you missed a couple shows that started that year, but we share an anniversary this year with Jeopardy and Bewitched. I mean, come on, Gail, how can you forget those? Still watch Jeopardy. The Rolling Stones did their first live concert that year in the United States. Congress passed the Bill of Tonkin Resolution, which was the start of a war in a country called Vietnam that not many of us had heard of before or knew where it was. The popular children's book, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, was released that year, written by the same author who wrote the famous James Bond series. Ronald Reagan appeared on the social scene, or on the political scene, and the list goes on. It's amazing what you can find on the internet. But the history was important. My history with the agency, and in the middle of your program, right where it pulls down, we laid out a lot of the things that we thought were significant that have happened over the last 50 years in the history of our agency. On a personal note, I got involved as a volunteer back in 1994, 20 years ago, to get matched up in a program with Project CARE that was funded by the Children's Board here of Hillsborough County, and we have some representatives from the Children's Board here. You guys are responsible for me being here. Thank you. But Project CARE hired Terry Simpson to effectuate this program. I think we even have a picture of Terry. I'm trying to see the screens here. There she is. I meant to embarrass you, Terry. Yes, it was deliberate. But Terry really was responsible for not only launching Project CARE, which I think brought in over 90 volunteers ultimately for that program, but she went on to lead our agency to the point where on the program side we served, 2,000, 2,300 kids, I think, at our peak, and really took us to new levels. That is a part of our history. I'm still matched with little brothers today. My current little brothers, many of you remember, their names are Richard and John, identical twin boys. They turned 14 in February, and they proudly announced at our birthday outing that they had known me half of their life. They are learning math. It's good. We cannot do what we do in this wonderful community without wonderful partners. And the partners come in all kinds of different ways and different means. Partners that help us bring in volunteers, that bring in donors, that bring in people with a lot of passion that want to help us do what we do. I mentioned the Children's Board of Hillsborough County, the United Way. The Koch Foundation has been one of our longest supporters, funding matches here throughout Hillsborough County. Hillsborough County School District is one of our strongest partners, and with them we bring our program into numerous elementary schools and after-school programs with our site-based mentoring. Tampa Bay Rays, the Tampa Bay Lightning, USF, all help us with our sports studies program, and also we partner with Big Brothers Big Sisters of Pinellas County with that program. MacDill Air Force Base for our military mentoring program. The list goes on for like 20 pages. I'm going to stop there, but I'm just going to say that we couldn't be doing it without each and every one of you, and we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. So, it was important that those people 50 years ago formed this organization. And who were these people? Donald Ming, Jane Farrer, Gene Goins, John Carey, and John Dosher. We had our initial office with them over on Buffalo Avenue, as it was called in those days. Now it's, of course, Martin Luther King Boulevard. But I think today was really a good opportunity for us to reflect, what do we want people 50 years from now in Tampa to be reflecting back on us? What is it that we can do, starting today, to make a difference in the lives of kids in our lives here in our community, so that they can have better lives, better aspirations, better grades in school, higher graduation rates, no involvement with the juvenile justice system? Well, I think we can do a lot. And we've got a great infrastructure, we've got a great system, we can really grow it and make it happen now. And I think on the anniversary of our 50th anniversary, it's a wonderful opportunity. So enjoy yourselves. Thank you for being part of this anniversary. And let's leave today with a recommitment and passion to do even greater work in the next 50 years. Thank you so much. I love you all.
a big brother for 4 years, and still stay in touch with my little. And most importantly, for why we're here today, I continue to be a donor to this great organization. There are many others in this room and throughout this community that have helped sustain Big Brothers Big Sisters of Tampa Bay from its inception in 1964 through today. It takes hard work day in and day out, and it takes a commitment of people who recognize the importance of it. We heard from Dorothea Edgecombe in the PSA. Her husband was a big and a board member. Donald May, who Stephen mentioned as a founder, served as a board president in 1981, and his widow is here with us today. And it's nice to reconnect with all of you who, like me, for a period of time, had the privilege and the pleasure of serving this great organization. The long-term involvement of these folks in our community, people with busy lives, people with other priorities, the long-term involvement and focus on this organization speaks to the effectiveness of our mentoring programs that we witnessed during our time with the organization. We've also reconnected with dozens of alumni big and little matches. Big brother Kevin and little brother Jarrell, along with big sister Karen and little sister Carrie, who were matched 14 years ago. There are many others who are also reuniting at this luncheon, and we want to take the opportunity and take a moment to recognize all of our alumni. So we'll our current, past board members, past staff members, and past bigs and littles, please stand up and be recognized. Thank you all for your service.
And thank all of you for your service and for being here today in the program and helping us with our program. Of course, the program, Big Brothers Big Sisters, wouldn't exist without parents, grandparents, even teachers who pick up the phone and make a call to Big Brothers Big Sisters. They have a high level of trust to allow their children in the program. And here is a look from the archives featuring some of our parents, including the first woman you'll see. She was so moved by the experience her daughter had when she was a little sister that years later, that mom decided to become a volunteer. So, in the next few minutes, we'll take a glance at our past. We'll celebrate today and get a glimpse of what the future holds. And we'll start with Greg Benz.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming out today. This is truly an honor and privilege for me to be here. My name is Greg Benz. I was a little brother in the program back in 1974. The other day, I spent hours going through old files and boxes looking for the pamphlets that are laminated on the table to the right when you walk in, and you'll see them on the pictures behind me. But it's those brochures, and the old one and the new one. But the old one is the orange one of Big Brothers of Koch County. There is a picture of me with my big brother, Gary Ellis, that I kept all these years. We were one of the first matches in Polk County, and they took plenty of pictures of us because no one really knew what this new mentoring program was all about. At the time, there's no way I could have known how this program and my big brother would impact my life and help mold me into the man I am today. I grew up in Lakeland with my father, mother, and 4 sisters. My father was a great man, but he had a degenerative disease that made the simple things even more difficult. My mom worked full-time for the 2nd District Court of Appeals in Lakeland, and it was Dad who stayed at home and did everything for us kids. take care of us. First he used a walker, then a wheelchair. And I'll never forget the last day I would see him alive. When he passed away, I was 9 years old. I remember, as a family, we were all devastated, and we really did not know what the future would hold for us. My mom knew that I would need something extra in my life, a male to look up to, because all of my uncles and grandfathers had passed from the same disease that took my father away from our life. I remember one of the first things my big brother Gary and I did was set the football in my front yard. And that is one of the highlights of our time together. He'd pick me up in his Corvette and we'd go driving. Just drive and talk. And he had a Stingray with one of them. It was quite the one. We loved all kinds of sports and watching wrestling matches at the new Civic Center in Lakeland. One of my favorite pictures is us flipping pancakes for a promotional fundraiser to help Big Brothers. When we were together or went out to eat, it was definitely just time talking, and it was definitely 100% all about me, his little brother. Gary had a dry sense of humor and was always pulling pranks, and we had that in common. I remember he worked a lot, but he always found his time to spend with me. His hard work ethic is something installed in me today as an adult. Even if you were to ask me today how long we were matched in the program, I really could not tell you, because he was always there. We were matched in 1974, and he passed in 1998. And those were 24 of the best years of my life. There was no end. We started, but there was just no end. So he was a part of my family, and I was a part of his. I remember when I went to boot camp to serve for the U.S. Army in Anderson, Alabama. At my graduation, Gary was not able to make it, but his wife, Debbie, made the drive to Alabama and brought my mother and my son, Greg Jr., to see me graduate. Gary had a care package for me. It had double mint gum, Snickers, Milky Ways, and other snacks I was definitely not supposed to have in there. I'll never forget it. I'm still connected with his family. Some of them here today in my family. And if it weren't for his family and my family co-joining together as one, this would not be a special, special occasion. Gary was there for me when I got married. In fact, he was even my best man. He would also watch my son play sports. And when Gary got sick, he was called for a greater volunteer for a greater cause. He was in hospice care, and I knew I had to tell him what he meant to me all these years. I was there when he passed away. So Gary was just more than a guy I met through a mentoring program for kids. He was really my big brother. So when I look at those pamphlets that I have at the table to be shared with all of you folks out there today who have attended, with the updated ones, they still resonate with me. And if you were to look at the old one and the new one, the core values of what this organization was built on were just small blocks that have grown to what this organization is here today. And there's no knocking it down, folks. It's just going to keep on going. At the very end of the original pamphlet that was printed in 1974, the orange one back there, there's a saying on it. I don't know who wrote it, but I'm going to modify it to include the big sisters. And it says, no man or woman ever stands so straight as when they stoop to help a young girl or a young boy. And if Gary was here today, I would tell him Thank you for being a big brother. But not only that, he had to be a volunteer first. So this organization created that for him to walk into the office or make that phone call and to volunteer. Then a big brother. And then eventually it transitioned to a father figure to me. I don't know about how many more young men my age, or my age, 49. But anyway, I was fortunate enough to have two fathers in one lifetime that made incredible impacts on me. And I just thank everybody for being here and this opportunity to share this fraction of a bit of a story that was a part of my life. And I will see my big brother again, but not just yet. I still have work to do. Thank you, and God bless.
Good afternoon. My name is Christian Marco Trigiano, and I am, it's quite a name. I have been a mentor for Big Brothers Big Sisters since October 2003. And my little sister, her name is Stacia Costin. She wasn't able to join us at this wonderful event, but she's definitely here in spirit. As a sidebar real quick, I had the opportunity last Tuesday to actually see my little sister walk across the stage and graduate from high school. And every time I mention it, this happens. And so I know that there's other littles in the room that recently graduated, and I'd like to take a moment to ask them to stand so that we may recognize them. About a young woman whose life was changed through this program. I was a student at the University of Tampa in 2003, business management, and we had an assignment to volunteer with the community for a semester, just one semester. I was like, oh, I've always wanted to check that organization out. Let's give it a shot. So I went to Big Brothers Big Sisters, and after passing all the qualifications, I decided that the site-based program was what I was going to do. During that time, I would visit my little sister at school. We could have come during classes. They would allow us, some teachers would allow. I often came during lunchtime because the freshman 15 that I had already gave wasn't enough, so why not? And part of the magical moments were watching my little sister. She was so bright, she was so excited, she was just so happy. She was so happy to be alive, and she was just so happy to be around. Didn't matter what the circumstances were at home, she was just happy. And I loved spending time with her. Over the years, our relationship grew, and we decided to take the program to the non-site base, so we would be able to spend a little bit more time together. And I remember that we spent many Saturdays together. We would go shopping, because that's what I like to do. That's what it is. And other times we would go bowling, we would go roller skating, sometimes we would just sit in the car and talk, sometimes we were just together, sometimes we'd go to restaurants, it's just whatever. And I always like to plan to go to events and go do something really unique and special and out there. And so one day I called her and I said, hey, what do you want to do today? She's like, it doesn't matter, I just want to be with you. And that moment was really one of the moments that I realized that I didn't have to plan, I didn't have to be someone that I wasn't, I didn't have to go out there and be the most amazing person in the world. I just had to be me, and she just had to be her, and we just had to be together. Throughout her life, I learned so many things. She has been through more challenges than I could have ever imagined. With family challenges, with school educational challenges, even as far as having people within her family choose their own personal demons over her needs. That was one of the most trying lessons for me to learn and understand And what happened next through all those years was that she'd find a way. She'd find a way to get to school, she'd find a way to get to work, she would find a way to keep going. When at times I wasn't sure if I could keep going. But she did. She knew that she was always going to have to keep going and keep going on to the next stage. Over the years, I watched her grow into a young woman, and I always encouraged her and pushed her to finish school, graduate from college. That was the next step, and so that she can build a career and a life where she could have her own and make a difference for her circumstances, that she would be able to have the opportunity to change that. Last year, right before she got ready to finish her senior year of high school, she was asked to move out of her family's home due to some differences. And at that point, I was like, oh my gosh, all of this is, here it goes. What are we going to do? How are we going to fix this? And she found a way. She found a place to live. You know, I worked with her to make sure that she'd find a good place, somewhere that she could be safe. We worked together to make sure that she would be able to finish school, that she would get to school. She would go to school every day. She would go to work every day. She'd take, I think, 2 or 3 buses just to get to work and to school, just to make sure that she was able to take care of her needs. And I look back at that and I think, my goodness, all of these circumstances may have deterred so many of us, but she kept going. She's incredibly resilient, she's incredibly smart, and she's incredibly focused on chasing her dreams. One of the most important lessons that was learned is that this story isn't about Daisha's life changing, it's actually about changing me. I came in thinking, oh, I was just gonna, hang out and, do something fun, but here I learned from someone that regardless of your circumstances, you can keep going. You can find the inner strength. And she definitely taught me how to keep going and how to find that strength and find that next step and not give up. And she definitely has not given up. I greatly appreciate the opportunity to have learned from her and to have had this opportunity to volunteer with this awesome organization, because if it had not been for this organization, I would not be the person that I am today. She's taught me, one of the most important things that she taught me was to not only keep going, but even when things are at their absolute worst, it could be worse. And, she was always really positive for me, and to imagine that she did more for me than I think that maybe I did for her. And I'm really thankful for the opportunity, and I'm thankful for this organization. Thank you so much for all the years of helping us and working together with us to make sure that we stayed together, that we were staying on track, that we were doing all the things that we were supposed to be doing. And thanks to her courage and thanks to her showing me that you can keep going even through adversity, I decided at the beginning of this year to start my own business, and I recently just started my own real estate business. I'm really excited to be doing my own endeavor, and I'm really just thankful that I can be a part of her life and that she can be a part of mine. And I hope that if you do have the opportunity to volunteer or to donate to this awesome organization, that you will absolutely give anything that you can. Your time is the most valuable thing. Money doesn't hurt. But the time that you'll spend with a little, it's life-changing, and it's the most awesome gift that you could ever ask for in the entire world. Thank you.
My name is Tabor Julius. I have a great time with my big brother Michael. It is very interesting about the things we do. The first thing we did was look at a WWE match. We love to hang out together. Here are some things we like to do. Look at WWE matches, eat Baconator from Wendy's, look at hockey games, write stories, watch her read the football games, make dinner for Michael's girlfriend Allison. able to have fun with big brothers or sisters. It is very important to give money so kids can get big. It is important to share love, hope, and care. Thank you. Here's my big brother, Michael.
Let's set some expectations. There's no way I'm topping that. And if you have a vote, apparently that's something that we have to do, so we would appreciate it. I moved to Tampa 2 years ago, and when people ask what got me involved with Big Brother, Big Sister, I tell them I didn't have any friends, and it seemed like a good solution to that. He has no choice but to hang out with me. We were assigned. I had heard about Big Brother, Big Sister multiple times. When I got to Tampa, it just seemed like a tremendous opportunity for the kids. What I didn't realize is what a tremendous opportunity would end up being for me. We've been matched for over a year and a half now, and I can't tell you how impressed I am with this kid. I mean, the way he carries himself. I don't know any other 7-year-old that's given a speech in front of 500 people. One of the best things about Tavoris is he's got a nice, refreshing willingness to say whatever he's thinking. When I first moved here, he was very adamant about telling everybody we saw how small my apartment was. Wait till you see how small Michael's apartment is. His bed is in his living room. I lived in a studio apartment and I slept on a futon, so my bed was technically in my living room. Tavoris makes me a better person. My reminders to him to say please and thank you are small reminders to myself to make sure I keep doing it. His eagerness to learn is refreshing. It's consistently a bright spot in my week. I bought him a 3-subject notebook a little over a month ago. And the first subject is for homework, the second subject is for stories, and the third subject is for drawings. And our rule was you can never have more drawings than stories. A week later, when we hung out, we spent 2.5 hours going over 5 stories he'd written, all about a half-page long. He gains and loses points based on his vocab and his spelling. Now we do it every week. Sometimes I say, no, I want to go play outside. Tavoris always has more stories than drawings. He's a great kid. I love seeing him every week. I look forward to continuing to see him. When my parents came to visit, they got to meet Tavoris. When my brothers called me, they asked me about Tavoris. I don't know any other kid that either wants to be a football player or own a restaurant model after Golden Corral. He is the greatest kid. I love hanging out with him. And right now there's 700 other great kids just like Tavoris, waiting for their big brother, their big sister. No matter what you can contribute, time or money, just know that it's going towards finding another great kid like Tavoris, a big brother, a big sister. Thank you so much for having us. This was awesome.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be with all of you. I think Michael should have a lot of friends. You have a great personality. Yeah, no problem with friends. During the time that I was with the city, I visited West Tampa Elementary School. And it was close to City Hall, wonderful principal. And the students from West Tampa Elementary, Leonie, I'm sure you remember this, I think you went with me one time, and we were amazed that we walked into this one 3rd grade classroom, and of 22 children, they represented a dozen different countries. And that particular day that we walked in, 2 children had just arrived in the United States. And we talked to the principal, and we said, you know, what can the city do to help? How can we best impact the educational system in our community? And the principal said these kids need someone in their life. They need mentors. And so we came up with the idea of the Mayor's Mentoring Program, where we gave our city employees who were interested an hour and a half off a week to go mentor, as long as they mentored at this or Edison or Just Elementaries. Well, we had such a fantastic response. And of course, we partnered with Big Brothers Big Sisters, and that's how I first really got to know Stephen and his staff. Well, what I saw was a transformation. First, a transformation amongst our employees, because it made a big difference in their life when they became a big brother or sister. They took it on with gusto. They came to work with even more enthusiasm. One was so enthusiastic that he quit a 30-year career as a manager in the city of Tampa to become a school teacher, Mary Ellen, because he was so enthusiastic after mentoring. But the real treasure at the end of it all was when the principal from West Tampa Elementary came to visit me one day. And really just so emotional as she shared with me the test scores and the reading scores of the students at her school. You see, we had so overwhelmed the school with mentors, almost every child had a mentor in the elementary school. And the reading and the FCAT scores went through the roof. All because someone took the time to care about a young person. So several months ago, when I received a phone call asking me to become the CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters of America, it didn't take me long to say yes, because I had seen firsthand the difference mentoring made in the lives of so many young people. We live in a time today of technology, where often don't we worry that we're not spending enough face time with one another, because our faces are always in an iPhone, look at something technological. Sometimes I'm out to dinner with our children and everyone's on their iPhone, and I have to say, stop, can we just look at each other and talk? And they say, no, we want to look at the iPhone. And so we know that that is always going to continue, that technology is going to expand at a rapid rate, and that we are always going to have our face in some kind of technological device. But the fact is, that's not how you really fundamentally impact another person's life. You impact another person's life by indicating that you care, by looking them in the eye, by spending time with them, by listening to them, by sharing their life's good times and their bad times, and particularly their bad times. The way you change a life is simply by giving part of your heart to another human being. We all know that to be the case. The photo of me when I was 5 years old in 1964 was really a young girl who knew that people believed in me, that my parents believed in me. My mother is here. She still believes in me. Thanks, Mom. I appreciate it. But it was a young person who knew that because my parents believed in me, and that other people in my life as I went through school believed in me, that I grew to believe in myself. It's a pretty simple formula, isn't it? That in this world, when people believe in you, you come to believe in yourself and your own capabilities. Throughout my public life, I came to see all parts of our community. And I came to see children who didn't have people who really believed in them. And I saw what that led to. Over and over again, you saw where that lack of self-esteem, that lack of belief in their capacity to succeed at anything they tried, that often they gave up in school because they didn't even believe that they could succeed in school. And then how that turned around when someone took their hand and said, I believe in you. You're really smart. You're really creative. You're funny. I want to be with you. Imagine a young person who doesn't believe that anyone wants to be with them, having an adult say, I want to be with you. I want to go bowling. I want to hang out in my cramped apartment with you. I think it was Mother Teresa who talked about, with all that she did in this world, when she said something to the effect that I can't change the whole world, but I can change the life of one person. And I've always thought about that in terms of what it means to live on this earth. We can't change the whole world. The world's just too big. But we can change the life and the lives of those who we touch every day, those in our family and our extended family of friends, and those who we touch, sometimes people we just see one time and never see again. But I think one of the most meaningful ways that you can impact someone's life is to become a big brother or big sister. You know, this organization is 110 years old. It was first chartered by Congress. Yes, Congress did something right. Isn't that great? And so this is actually one of the oldest agencies in the country. There are 337 affiliates across the United States. Collectively, they mentor 200,000 children. But I must share with you that there are thousands more on waiting lists. Just here in the Tampa chapter, there's 700 children on a waiting list. Now, can you imagine what that's like to be a mother or father who goes to the local chapter of the Big Brother, Big Sister and say to Stephen and his staff, my son, my daughter really needs someone else in their life. Will you please connect them with a big brother or sister? I mean, what does that take as a parent, right? That's courageous for a parent to do that. But then for Stephen to have to say, we have a waiting list. And why? Well, because this is a busy world and all of you are busy people, and not everyone can carve out the time to become a big brother, big sister. And after today, if you feel that you can, you'll be making a huge difference. If you can't, there are other ways to help. Poor Stephen told me to make the big ask. And so I have to do that. And that is that there are apparently table captains, and these table captains have pledge cards, don't they, Stephen? Am I doing this right? Okay, I don't want to be a flop here. And the pledge cards talk about making a contribution. And it costs $1,200 per match because there's a lot of work that goes into each match. There's national standards of training and of child safety that make it, that's why you can believe in Big Brothers, Big Sisters as a brand and as an agency, because you know the work and the care that goes into training every single big and making the right match and protecting the children in the process. And that is more important than anything. That's why Big Brothers, Big Sisters has been around for 110 years. And that's why this agency, for half a century, has made a huge impact on literally thousands of lives. I'm really proud to join with you, Stephen, today, and your staff, and all your bigs of the past and the present, and all the future bigs out there, because I know there are some of you who will leave today and become bigs. If all of us can impact a person to the good, if all of us can help another human being see that they have great potential in life, if all of us can believe in another person, and by doing so, have that person believe in themselves and their capability, then what a great world this will be. I'm proud to be part of Big Brothers, Big Sisters, Stephen, and I'm proud of you and all of your great work. Thank you all for caring enough to be here today, for being a part of an important organization, for caring about just one other person and making such a huge difference in that young person's life. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Pam. Something else you can change. The channel if you're not watching A's. Just want to throw that out there. Shameless plug. I don't know. And thank all of you for being here today. Thank you for celebrating 50 years of greatness in our community. For celebrating the incredible work of Big Brothers, Big Sisters. I encourage you to pull that pledge card out to give as much as you can, as often as you can. And if time permits, and truly at the end of the day, we all have time. It's all about managing what time we have. And I'm going on record right now saying, sign me up.